So you just purchased the Ninja Slushi, or you're considering purchasing it, but you have no idea what recipes to make. If that's the case, then you're in the right place. Today I'm testing 4 different recipes and ranking them on difficulty, cost, and most importantly, how they taste. Recipe 4 will use 4 total ingredients, recipe 3, 3 ingredients, and so on. Starting with our 1 ingredient recipe, a Starbucks frap. It is only 1 ingredient, this from the grocery store, but the Ninja Slushi requires at least 16 ounces of liquid. So I have to use 2 of these 9.5 ounce bottles, which cost me about $5.50 total, or about 29 cents per ounce of slushie. It's about 4 times the cost of a 7-Eleven Slurpee, but to be fair, it is a coffee, so I'm giving it a 6 out of 10 on the cost. To make it, all I have to do is open this little lid on our slushie, and pour them in one at a time. And that is both bottles. Close it back up, turn on our slushie, click the frap button, and that's started. With just 1 step to make it, the difficulty pretty much couldn't be easier, so I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. But how does it taste? I'll be back when it's ready. After about 22 minutes, this is now ready. So you do have to plan ahead a bit, but let's dispense this out. This is the one thing I don't understand with the slushie, and it's that all of them dispense super slow for me. I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong on every recipe, but this is how it always comes out for me. We've got our glass full, time for the taste test. I'm actually not even the biggest coffee drinker, but this is creamy, it's cold, it's sweet, it's honestly delicious, and I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. But just in case you don't trust my taste buds, at the end of the video, my brutally honest wife is gonna taste test all 4 recipes as well and let you know her favorite of them. Our next recipe might just be my new favorite summer drink, and it's still only 2 ingredients. This one is going in a blender, starting with 2 cups of lemonade and 1 cup of our frozen strawberries. Let's blend it up for just a second. And now we can pour this right into the slushie machine. Thankfully, this little tray inside of the slushie machine here catches any chunks, so if it's not fully blended, it won't go all the way down into there. 2 cups of our lemonade was about 83 cents worth, and 1 cup of these frozen strawberries was another $2.40, making our total recipe $3.23, or about 13 cents per ounce. That gets a solid 8 out of 10 on cost, but let's get it made. And this one will be running on the slush setting, and that's the only thing you have to do. Now we did have to pull out a blender for this one, but since that was the only extra step, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 for difficulty score. And once again, I'll be back with you when this one's ready. This one took a bit longer, but 35 minutes later, it's time for our taste test. And actually this one's dispensing nice and fast into our cup, way faster than any recipe I've ever tried, so that's nice. But now for the only test that matters, here we go. The sourness of the lemonade and the sourness of the strawberries is a little bit too much. It does taste like a delicious strawberry lemonade slushie, but honestly, I'd probably choose a dollar fruit, or maybe like a sugar-free lemonade would make a slight difference. But that doesn't mean I'm not gonna drink the whole thing. However, I can only give this an 8 out of 10 on flavor also. 3 ingredients for our next recipe sounds like a lot, but one of them is cotton candy, America's favorite treat. So I think the flavor will be worth it. Starting with 1 cup of Sprite, which costs about 55 cents, 3 ounces of cotton candy, which is about $1.50. Let's get this shoved into the container. That is oddly satisfying. And a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, which is like, I don't know, 12 cents. I'm adding in some free water to dilute it down. No, I'm not counting this as an ingredient. And our recipe comes to about $2.17 total, which is about 9 cents per ounce. That's barely more expensive than going to 7-Eleven, so I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10 on cost. Let's get this poured into our slushie. Definitely an interesting color. And although we did have an extra ingredient this time, all it took was mixing it into a bowl here, so I'm gonna give difficulty score a 9 out of 10. So once again, we're going on the slush setting here, and I'll be right back. This is actually our quickest recipe yet. It only took 15 minutes. Let's get it dispensed. Here we go with the taste test of our cotton candy slushie. I thought this one was gonna be way too sweet, but honestly, it's a really balanced and delicious flavor. It tastes a little bit like cotton candy, a little bit like Sprite, and basically just a mix of it as you'd expect. The vanilla adds the perfect note to it. I think it balances out the sweetness perfectly. This is my favorite one yet. I'm actually gonna give it a 9 out of 10, and I think this might end up being my wife's favorite flavor. But before we find that out, we have to make our 4-ingredient recipe, which is a milkshake, but not just a boring flavored one. Let's make a creamsicle milkshake. Did that get your mouth salivating? Because mine already is for sure. This one starts with 1 cup of whole milk at around 22 cents, half a cup of heavy cream, about $1.50, 1.5 cups of orange juice, another $1.10, and a 1/4 cup of sugar, which is about a quarter. There's an optional 5th ingredient, about a teaspoon of vanilla, which does add close to $1 to this recipe. Our final recipe cost comes to around $4, which is about 16 cents per ounce, but for a freaking milkshake, I think that's a steal of a price, so I'm giving it a fair 8 out of 10 on cost. Let's get this one whisked up real quick, just for 15 to 30 seconds. The whole thing poured into our slushy machine once again. And now this one was 5 ingredients, but all I had to do was measure them out, pour them into a bowl, and whisk it, which I think pretty much anyone can do. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 still on difficulty. Let's get this one started on our milkshake setting, and our final recipe is underway. About 30 minutes later, I cannot wait to try this thing. It's dispensing time, and it looks nice and thick, and this one's dispensing quick for us. All right, here we go. This is the second milkshake I've made in my slushie so far since getting it, and the milkshakes just come out incredible. They're the perfect consistency, so creamy and so delicious. I actually have a slight preference towards the vanilla milkshake I had in this before, but this one's still amazing. I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10 on flavor. But are you guys ready for the real critics' thoughts?
Alrighty, here we go. So the first one, the frap. Oh, this is good. Like a 7 out of 10. But this would be really good in the morning. I didn't expect it to be as sour. Super sour things aren't for me, so 6 out of 10, but if you love sour, you'll love that. Alright, the Shrek drink. Okay, big fan, and I can actually taste the vanilla. 9.5 out of 10. I love it. I'm gonna put this to the side so I can have more later. That's really good. Okay, it's really good, but it's a little too orange juicy for me. It almost feels like orange juice spilled into my milkshake. They combined somehow, it shouldn't be, so I'm gonna give this one like a 7 out of 10. So this one for sure, you were right, Logan, it's actually my favorite.
The only thing I like more than slushies is ice cream. So if you wanna watch me taste test for ice cream recipes in my other favorite Ninja gadget, the Ninja Creamy, click right here.